Well, friends, so taking up today, employee compensation insurance. Not a new product, all of you are already selling, and this is since beginning. But since this is very old product, introduced in compliance of Workmen's Compensation Act 1923, so that act is still prevailing with the slight changes. The name of the act has been revised now, that is known as Employees Compensation Act 1923. Product is same, act is same. Certain amendments are there. So, as far as the rating, premium rating of the policy is concerned, and the claim settlement is concerned, both these aspects are absolutely different to other products. So the policy has to be understood in detail. Why? Because the pattern is absolutely different. There is a social security legislation, and similarly the policy is also to provide the social security in terms of finance. So the provisions are different because the claims are settled according to the provisions of law, not as per the claim insurance practices. Whatever the law provides, the same has to be followed by insurance company, by employer, or by the Commissioner of Workmen's Compensation. So I am sharing with you the presentation. Let's see what this product is. So first of all, the concept has to be very clear that this is a social security legislation, because this act is known as the Employees Compensation Act 1923, that is to provide the social security to the downtrodden classes of organized as well as unorganized sector, which are coming under the category of labor, workmen, and employees. So what social security is provided? Only the financial protection to workmen, and if he died during the working hours, in that case the financial protection to the dependents. So that is the only social security the insurer or the employer or the commissioner can provide. Because if a person is died, or if a person, the workman is no more, nobody can bring him back. If the part is amputated, no one can bring it back. Maybe by certain surgeries, the lung plantation, the body part plantation could be there, but not for all body parts. So the financial protection is the best way out. That is what the Act provides to all the workmen's employees or the labor class. Now, since the Act is more than 100 years old, 1923, and this is 2024, so in that reference, certain amendments have been made in the Act. The first one is to change the name, because earlier it was known as the Workmen's Compensation Act and Workmen's Compensation Insurance Policy. The same has been changed as the Employees Compensation Act 1923 and Employees Compensation Insurance. Secondly, the compensation amount is arrived at by applying the age and wages. So the wages is important. Earlier this wage limit was in hundreds only. Over a period of time it was increased to 4,000 rupees. Thereafter it was increased to 8,000 rupees. And now recently in 2020 it has been revised to 15,000 rupees per month. So the labor or the worker or the employee who are getting rupees 15,000 rupees per month or less are subject to coverage of this insurance policy. Even the persons, workbench, labor, employees who are getting more than 15,000 per month, they can also be covered. Because this limit is for the purpose of wages. If they are getting the remuneration more than that, they are still insurable under the policy, but only thing is, over and above 50,000 rupees per month, certain percentage of premium rate will be charged to cover the higher wages. So from that perspective, the Act provides under Section 17 that every employee or the worker or the labor has a right to recover compensation from the contractor or principal in case of any death or disability or injury takes place during the course of employment, means in the working hours. So this is a legal right of the workman to recover the compensation for himself or if he is died for his dependents. So if anybody asks you the employee compensation insurance policy or the workman compensation insurance policy, don't get confused over it, because both are the same name of the same product. Both are governed by the Employees Compensation Act 1923. The only thing is, like the Act, the Workmen Compensation word has been changed now as Employees Compensation in both an Act as well as in the policy. So there is no difference at all. And the aim or the object of the Act is to provide the workmen or their dependents in case of death or disability due to accident arising out of and in the course of employment, the financial relief as per the provisions of the Employees Compensation Act 1923. So there are certain terms which are used in the Act, like a commissioner means Commissioner of Workmen Compensation, dependent means person who is legally liable to get the claim, employer means he is taking the policy. See, the typical thing is, policy is taken by the employer, compensation is paid by the insurer, and subject matter is workman. Because the insurance is of the workman, not of the employer. So compensation would be for disablement, for death, for injuries. It may be temporary or permanent in nature. Why this kind of circumstances arises? There are certain reasons. So there could be negligence of the employer, negligence of the employee, negligence of the fellow employee as well. There may be a breach of statutory regulations, like certain provisions of the Factory Act are not followed. Drainage, cleaning, sweeping systems are not hygienic. And failure to provide safe place of work by the employer. All these circumstances leads to accidents, disabilities, injuries and occupational diseases. And all these circumstances prevails normally in the unorganized sectors. Say for example, a contractor has hired a labor. He has got a project of 15 floors building for a hospital. Now this is his duty to provide a safe place of working to the workers. But when the workers are working on the 10th floor, 12th floor, he is providing only the ropes and wooden slabs to stand on. Every kind of risk is attached to the workman. So maybe this is due to negligence or due to not providing the set place, but these things can take place. If at all there is an accident to the workman, he is died or he is disabled or he is injured, the compensation has to be paid. This accident means any event which is neither expected nor designed. Means nobody can plan what kind of accident will take place at what time and how it will result into the losses, damages, or injuries to a person, or even casualties. Nobody can plan it. This is always unplanned, unexpected, undesigned. In the course of employment phrase is very important from the perspective of employee compensation insurance, because this indicates the time when the injury is caused. That means it must be within the working hours. If it is on the holidays or at the home of the workman, the employer could not be held responsible for that, because in that case it is out of employment. That has got no legal connection to pay the compensation by the employer. So the phrase is important in terms of the coverage of the liability, because if it happens during the course of employment, during the working hours, during the duty hours, then only it is the responsibility of the employer to pay the compensation to the workman or to the employees. Now, what kind of liability is covered under the policy? This policy compensates if the workman has suffered death, permanent total disablement, permanent partial disablement, temporary total disablement or temporary partial disablement, or an acquired disease. Means any of these will make the workman entitled for the compensation. But mind one thing, this coverage does not provide the medical expenses. There is a clear-cut liability for death, for permanent total disablement, for permanent partial disablement, for temporary disablement, maybe total or partial, and the occupational disease. So coverage is very specific. But the expenses are not covered for medical treatments. Now, two important questions are there. How you will get the premium rate of this policy? How you would calculate the premium of the policy? So for that purpose, you need four things. Four informations are must. First, number of employees, a number of workers, a number of labor. Second, salary of these workers or labor per month. Third, period of insurance in months. And fourth, nature of work. All the four are necessary. Even if one is missing, you cannot calculate the premium. So all the four information are required. Now what you have to do? How you will calculate the premium? Even if all the four informations are given to you. You have to do, take the number of employees, multiply it with the salary or wages of these employees per month, then multiply it to the months, that is period of insurance, and whatever sum is there, on that you have to apply the premium rate given in the tariff according to the nature of work. Because for every purpose the premium rate is different. If a worker is working in a factory, the premium rate is different. If a worker is working for a contractor and making some buildings or plants, premium rate is different. So premium rates are decided according to nature of work, and these are given in the tariff, and tariff rate to be referred for taking the premium rates only. So first three informations have to be multiplied with name of employee, salary of the employee, period of insurance. These things have to be multiplied. On the resultant sum, you will apply the premium rate according to the nature of work. So funda is very clear, all the four informations are must. Even if one is missing, you cannot calculate the premium of the policy. Now the question is, premium rate are in per milli in the tariff. Underwriter has the privilege to give the detailed discount on the premium rate. And over the 15,000 rupees per month wages, over the amount of the wages, certain percentage will be applicable. Number of all the employees is must. So how you will apply the rate? Now let us understand it with an example. Suppose I am a farmhouse owner. In my farmhouse, some 20 workers are there who are engaged in farming. Now, as an employer, I know if anything happens to them during the working hours, this is my legal responsibility to pay the compensation to them or to their dependents. And this liability could be in millions of rupees as per the provisions of Act, because this is a statutory liability. So I would prefer to transfer this liability to the insurance company in lieu of some amount of premium, and I will take the policy called Employees Compensation Insurance. So now I am taking the policy. I have to disclose all these four informations. So when I invited you for insurance of my farmhouse workers, you asked for all these informations. I provided you the detail. Number of workers are 20. I am paying to them 12,000 rupees per worker per month. Period of insurance required is 1 year, 12 months. You multiplied all the three informations. Now your next question is, what is their nature of work? I said farming. So you have to refer to your tariff for farming, what is the premium rate. So when you opened your tariff, you found for agriculture farm, rate is 5.85 per milli. So whatever sum you have got, you have multiplied it and applied the premium rate of 5.85 per thousand, and you have got the premium of the policy. Simple method. Similarly, for factories, for industries, for small and medium enterprises, for micro industries, the premium will be applicable according to the nature of work, nature of product. Say for example, I have a plant of water irrigated manufacturing. Some 400 workers are there. It's a big plant. 300 are unskilled labor and 100 are skilled labor. So for 300 workers I am paying 10,000 rupees per month, and for skilled labor I am paying 15,000 rupees per month. Now since I understand my legal liability, so I am taking the policy. When you are asking for all the four informations, I have given you the detail. Number of employees 400, salary of these employees 10,000 for 300, 15,000 for 100. Policy required for 12 months. We have multiplied all these three and then applied the rate. Rate, you have to refer to the tariff. And tariff says for the aerated water manufacturer, the premium rate is 15.10 per month. So you multiply the same and you got the premium rate. There could be any risky situation also, like circus workers, pilots, some pilots, risk of pilots to be covered, who are flying their devices. That rate is also given in the tariff, that is 121.60. So that rate you have to apply according to nature of work. Question is, first three information are to be multiplied with, and according to the nature of work you have to take the premium rate from the tariff and you have to apply that premium rate. On that premium rate also, the underwriter has got the privilege to provide the tariff discount. So on discounted price you can multiply. But the method will remain the same. All the four informations are required to work out the basic premium rate. Now, in addition to the basic coverage of the policy, certain endorsements are add-ons are there. Add-ons are also called as extensions of the policy. So the first add-on is very important, that is medical expenses. Because every employer would prefer to cover the medical expenses because certain injuries or even temporary disabilities can be cured by incurring the medical expenses. But at this coverage is as per the choice of the employer. Why? Because you have to pay the premium for that. This is an add-on cover, additional premium is required. And additional premium will be charged according to the limit selected by him. Limits are provided from 5,000 to 5 lakh or even to the actual medical expenses incurred on the treatment. So 5,000 rupees per worker coverage is required for medical expenses, then the premium is only 30% subject to a minimum amount of 80 rupees per person. But if 2 lakh is required, then 85%, 95% of subject to the minimum of 275 rupees per person. If the insured requires, maybe contractor or employer or even principal, feel that the actual medical expenses should be reimbursed by the insurance company, we are not going to pay for the cost of the medical expenses. In that case, the actual expenses can be selected. For that, the premium is 150% of the premium or 700 rupees per person. This add-on cover you must suggest to the insured or to the proposer or to the contractor, because this will give you an additional premium and this will provide the coverage to the employer. And sometimes, surprisingly, the additional premium could be more than the policy premium, because it depends upon the limit selected by them. So this medical expenses extension is always advisable to give. Second extension is compensation for occupational disease. This is a very common factor in the industries and factories, because the occupational diseases are suffered by the workers. This risk can be covered on the 50% of the book rate, but these occupational disease could be of many types because of the nature of work. Say some worker has suffered skin disease, some has lost the eyesight, someone has lost the hearing power, or some lung infection is there, some asthma is there. Because the disease that inflicts workers in that particular occupation in which they are employed is called occupational disease. This is due to the exposure to a hazardous working atmosphere. So this occupational disease is suffered by the worker because he is continuously doing the same kind of work. If he is not doing this work, this occupational disease will not be there. So this risk can be covered on the extra premium, that is 50% of the book rate, as an add-on cover. And the third extension is insures liability for contractors and subcontractors employees. Sometimes what happens, I am a contractor, I have 3 projects, all 3 projects are running. My workers are working on all those 3 projects, and I have arranged the subcontractors at 2 different locations, one location I am taking care of. If I want that all those workers and subcontractors must be covered under my policy, one policy, it is possible. The only thing is, it's my duty to provide to the insurance company the exact number of the workers so they are working on the 3 different projects, and the exact number of wages which I am paying. So for that purpose, wage register and muster roll are required. If the contractor is in a position to provide the exact number of the workers as well as the exact number of amount of wages can be cross-verified. In that case, this extension can also be given. Now, once the premium is calculated and these add-on covers are given, it means you have solved the first part of the policy. Now you can easily work out the premium of the policy. Because this is the choice of the insured to take all the 3 add-on extensions, or 1 or 2 or even none. But the basic formula of calculating the premium will remain the same. All the 4 informations are required: number of employees, wages of employees, period of insurance in month, and nature of work. Second aspect is, if any worker is suffering any injury, death or disability, then in what method the amount of compensation will be provided. So that method is to be understood by you, because for calculating the compensation only 3 things are required. 2 of these will provided by the employer. Like, what is the injury the worker has suffered? Is it death or disability or injury or occupational disease? Secondly, what monthly wages he is paying? Third one is the relevant factor. This is specified in Schedule 4 of the Act as well as in the tariff. This relevant factor is most important to calculate the compensation. Because the nature of injury the employer will tell you, monthly wages the employer will tell you, but relevant factor you have to take out from the tariff and the Act, and you have to multiply the age and wage of the worker with the relevant factor, and then only the compensation will be arrived at. Good part of the Act is there is no distinction between an adult and a minor worker. If the minor worker is there, that is less than 18, and he suffered any injury or disability during the working hours, he is also entitled for the compensation. If he died during the course of employment, his family is also entitled for the compensation. So there is no distinction between an adult and a minor worker. The worker, the age of the worker could be anything, maybe 72 or maybe 14 only. Because when the act was formulated, that time the age restriction was not there. This strictness has come into force right now because now this provision is strictly followed in the industries and factories where the worker of less than 18 years is not allowed to engage. There could be a legal action against the employer. But still, if there is any employer who has hired a person of 16 years or 15 years and he suffered an injury, he is still pay and is still liable to pay the compensation. So for that purpose, the relevant factor is important. Now what is this relevant factor that you have to understand? Relevant factor means according to the age of the worker and according to the wages of the worker, what amount is payable, that relevant factor is worked out here. So this table is there in the tariff as well as in the act. And here an example is given. Suppose the worker is getting the wages of 15,000 rupees per month. And his age is say 20 years old. He died during the working. So his relevant factor is 224. And the compensation payable to him is 16,80,000. Now this compensation cannot be reduced even for a rupee by any reason. This will be paid as it is because this is a legal provision and there is no compulsory access, there is no salvage, there is no deduction of any kind in the policy. Either it is paid by the employer or by the insurance company or by the Commissioner of Workmen Compensation, this amount will be the same. So this is very interesting aspect. And if the age of the worker is less than 16, still the worker is entitled to compensation because the table starts from 16 to 65. If the worker is of the age of 70 or 72, still he is entitled. But as per the relevant factor table, you can see that the highest compensation payable is in case of lower stage. Lower is the age, higher is the compensation. Higher is the age, lower is the compensation. Because for youngers, the compensation amount has to be much, much higher. If a person of 16 years or 15 years or less than 15 years is died during the course of employment, the compensation payable to him is 17,14,050. This is the highest compensation paid in case of the death. 17,14,050. So this is a relevant factor applicable in case of death only. Another table is for permanent total disablement. Permanent total disablement means the person has lost 100% working capacity and this has to be certified by the medical doctor. 100% capacity means the person has lost both the eyes, both the legs, both the hands, both the ears, or in combination. One leg, one hand, one eye, one hand, one eye, one leg, like that. That is known as the permanent total disability. Total means which is not recoverable. In case of permanent total disablement, the compensation amount would be higher as compared to the death. For the simple reason, here the worker has not died, he is alive, but he has lost his body parts. He is not capable to work. He has to survive throughout his life. His family is dependent upon him. In that case, the compensation amount has to be higher as compared to that. Relevant factor is the same. Amount of compensation would be higher. So here in case of permanent total disablement, if the wages is 15,000 rupees per month, for a 60 years person, the amount of compensation would be 20,56,860. While in case of death, it was 17,14,000. Same funda will be applicable here also. If person is 14 or 15 years of age, 16 years relevant factor will be taken. If person is 70 or 72 years of age, in that case again 65 years of relevant factors will be taken. So while calculating the compensation, relevant factor plays an important role, which is decided on the basis of age and wages. So now in case of death, what is the formula? The Act says, in case of death resulting from injury, the amount of compensation shall be 50% of the monthly wages of the deceased workman multiplied by the relevant factor, or minimum 1,20,000, whichever is more. Whichever is more, because this is a social security legislation. So under no circumstances it could be less than 1,20,000, and under no circumstances it could be more than 17,14,000 as per the relevant factor table. Even if the wages is more than 15,000, still the higher compensation payable is 17,14,000 only. And in case of permanent total disablement, the formula is 60% of the monthly wages. In case of death, it is 50%. In case of permanent total disablement, it is 60%. And here the minimum compensation payable is 1,40,000. In case of death, it is 1,20,000. Whichever is more. That means permanent total disability is when the person is completely disabled for rest of the life due to illness or injuries because of which he can no longer work and earn the money. For example, paralysis, loss of eyesight, loss of limbs. So the compensation has to be higher as compared to the death. Now how the compensation will be calculated? That is interesting to see. Say suppose a worker in my factory died while he was working, he collided with a machine and died at the spot. His age was 46, his wages was 15,000 rupees per month. Now how the compensation will be calculated? Formula is 50% of the monthly wages. Here the wages is 15,000 rupees. 50% of it is 7,500. And the relevant factor, at the age of 46, what would be the relevant factor? This is relevant factor table. 46 is here. Relevant factor is 166.29. So the relevant factor multiplication will show 166.29 into 7,500. The amount comes is 12,47,175. That amount will be paid to the dependent of the worker, because the worker has died. So I repeat, the maximum compensation payable in case of death is 17,14,000, but in case of permanent total disability, this is 20,56,860. Take another example. Say suppose I am running a shop and I have a servant for cleaning, opening, closing, like that. I am paying him only 3,000 rupees per month and he is 30 years of age. Now while working he died due to accident. So how the compensation will be arrived at? 3,000 rupees is the only wages he was getting and 50% of it is multiplied with the relevant factor. So 1,500 into the relevant factor 207.98 at the age of 30. amount payable is only 3,11,970. Since this is more than 1,20,000, so this is payable without any deduction. There is no change at all. Okay, this is not a case of death. Say suppose the same is the case of permanent total disablement. What will happen? Relevant factor will remain the same, 207.98. But the formula will change. Instead of 50, here the 60% of the monthly wages will be taken. That is 3,000. 60% means 1,800. 1,800 into 207.98, whatever comes, that would be paid to the dependents of his family. So the simple calculation is there. No technicality is involved. Nature of injury, monthly wages, relevant factor, there is no distinction on the basis of the age as per Act. Maximum limit in case of death is 70,40,000. Formula is 50%. Minimum compensation is 1,20,000. Maximum limit in case of permanent total disablement 20,56,000. Formula is 60%. Minimum compensation is 1,40,000. Where the permanent partial disablement is there, means suppose the worker has lost one hand only, or one leg only, or one eye only. So this is partial. Doctor will certify the percentage of permanent partial disability, and whatever is the percentage, that percentage of compensation amount will be paid. So these are the combinations of permanent total disability, where the doctor says 100% permanent total disability is there. The compensation will be paid according to this limit. But in permanent partial disablement, person is still capable to work, but not at full capacity. There could be back injury, hearing loss, loss of speech. So whatever percentage he has suffered, that much amount will be paid to him as per the compensation. If percentage is 10%, 10% compensation is entitled. The percentage is 95%, he is entitled for 95% compensation. That percentage is always certified and decided by the medical doctor. Insurance company has to follow that certificate guidelines. Now this compensation amount is not directly paid to the worker or to his family. This is deposited with the Commissioner of Workmen Compensation, and he is the authority to give the sufficient proof of discharge of the employer's liability. They will provide the receipt. And there could be temporary disablement also, not permanent. Temporary disablement means by cure it is recovery. Suppose I am a worker, I met with an accident during the working hours and I suffered the multiple fractures in both my legs. So I am admitted to the hospital, and for 6 months I was on the bed. I was bedridden for 6 months. Continuous treatment was there. So for that temporary disablement, again I am entitled for compensation. And the amount of compensation is a half monthly payment equal to 25% of the monthly wages of the employee. This depends upon the longer period of the treatment, equal to 25%. So now, this is the calculator provided to all the branches. Here is whatever information you are getting, you will get the premium amount calculated. But there are certain exclusions of the policy. The first one says any injury which does not result in fatality, means death, or partial disablement for a period exceeding 3 days is not covered. First 3 days of disablement where the total disablement is less than 28 days. Where the total disablement is less than 28 days. First 3 days is not paid, remaining entire amount is paid. But in case the worker was under the influence of the drink, or there is a willful disobedience, or willful removal of safety guards, insurance company will deny the liability. So mainly 3 exclusions of the policy are there: drink or drugs, disobedience, and disregard. There is one important question very often asked. If the employer has taken a group personal action policy and the amount of the claim is paid to the worker or to his dependents, in that case again the compensation as per the workman policy is payable? Yes. Because this is a statutory liability and every insurer has to take the policy, not compulsorily, but as per choice, because it is a greater liability. So whatever compensation is payable as per the Workmen Compensation Insurance Act or policy, that would be different and that will make no impact on the group personal action claim paid to the worker or to his family. Because both the policies are different. The pre-breathing of both the policies is different, claim settlement, method is different, coverage of the policy is different, because the PA policy covers worldwide liability for 24/7 covers. So his entitlement will still continue. Now, so you should not work on any proposal which is in our client list, like for the workers who are working at a very high location or underground areas prone to landslide and flooding, or in metal forges and foundries, or in blasting and tunneling, or in chemical industries, or where the ESI is applicable, employee state insurance is applicable, the same benefits are payable in that scheme also. So if there is any claim, you only have to guide the insured to submit the claim form, medical certificate, base service statement, proof of age, and detailed version of the incident in the claim form. But because the accident is there, in that case FIR would be there, Panchanama would be there, MLC would be there. In case of death, postmortem report would be there, photo ID, wage certificate, wage register, award copy. These documents are required at the time of claim, not at the time of insurance. You can sell this policy to any contractor, labor contractor, shop, factories, labor associate, factory inspectors, because they are the people taking the policy. Because normally contractors will come to you. What happening if the government department is giving the contract to any of the contractor? Normally in the contract they are mentioning this clause that the contractor has to submit a WC or employee compensation insurance policy for the value of the contract. So that's a guarantee, kind of guarantee. So the contractor will always prefer to take this policy. But what they will do? If any compensation claim is filed in any other court other than the Workmen Compensation, the provisions of Employee Compensation Act will not apply. This limit of the amount of compensation will not be applicable. So when you are giving this contractor's employee contractor's compensation and so workman compensation insurance policy to any contractor, mind two things only. First, the proposer must disclose the correct information about the number of workers. Second, the proposer must disclose the actual amount of the wages up to the workers paid. See, normally what happens, I tell you. Suppose you are engaging a mason to work in your house. Mason or a worker or karigar or labor who is constructing a house. The daily wage is 800 rupees minimum or 1000 rupees minimum per day. So if you are paying 1000 rupees per day, it means they are getting 30,000 rupees per month. Still they are the worker only, the labor only, labor of the unorganized sector. They are insured. But over and above the income of 15,000 rupees per month, certain amount of premium percentage will be charged. In that case only, the actual coverage of liability will be provided. If the contractor is hiding this information and disclosing that they are earning only 15,000 rupees per month, and this is disclosed at the time of claim, that the information given was the wrong, in that case the insurance company can deny the claim because the material fact has not been disclosed. False information is given. So you can give this policy to any of the contractors, any of the employers, but the question is, the correct information has to be there regarding the number of workers, amount of wages, policy period, as well as the nature of work. Then only the correct premium rate will be calculated. So policy is not new. Policy is very good. Policy is very famous. Policy is just beginning of the insurance, and this is taken in both organized and unorganized sectors because this is a statutory liability which will be on the employer if he is not paying the compensation. The worker or his any family member can file an application before the labor court, or that is the court called as Commissioner of Workmen Compensation, without help of any advocate, and if the summon or the order of the commissioner is released, that cannot be challenged before any court of law, and the employer has to pay the compensation as per the order. So this is all about this employee compensation insurance policy. If you have any questions, any doubts, you can ask me.